Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we are back with One Punch Man Season 3 Episode 3, and in this episode there are no new scenes added as well as no new panels in the manga missing in the anime, except a few pages of interaction between Reaper and a monster wanting to eat Tario before Reaper taking him to his cell. We'll get into that later in the video. The episode starts off with Zombie Man meeting Dr. Genus, his creator. Zombie Man threatens and questions Dr. Genus on why he didn't rebuild the House of Evolution when it got destroyed, and Dr. Genus explained that it was because he found someone that surpassed anything he could create, Saitama. Dr. Genus says Saitama had removed his limiter. He then explains that in the One Punch Man verse, every being has a limit to how much they can grow. He says too much power brings burden to the wielder, that they could become rampaging mindless monsters. That's why God created every living being with a range of growth that ensures their sanity. That's their growth restriction. It's called a limiter. Before I continue, when Dr. Genus said God here, I realize it's the first time a character is referring to God as in an all-knowing omni-being, not the One Punch Man God as we know him. Makes me think if he might actually be the same being, but the God we know is from another dimension and needs the cube to manifest his physical body in their dimension, so doubt that's the God Dr. Genus is referring to, or maybe it is. After all, nobody really knows of God's existence yet. More about that in a different video. Genus says Saitama pushed himself so far he surpassed his limitations and removed his limiter, but in exchange he became bald. Now remember, this is all a theory by Dr. Genus, because if people can really push their limits and remove it, Saitama wouldn't be the only overpowered one. Surely in the One Punch Man verse, many people must have pushed their bodies beyond their limits and broke their limiter. A good example being Super Alloy Darkshine. Darkshine, like Saitama, was born normal with no known potential. They were both weak until they both trained and both became stronger, but Saitama is still overpowered and Darkshine isn't. I mean, Darkshine is overpowered, but not on Saitama's level. Garou is another good example. As we can see, Garou is technically slowly removing his limiter with every near-death experience he has. Here, he couldn't beat Reaper and Bug God, but after he recovered, he one-shot them. It could be that he just has a lot of potential. As Dr. Genus explained, some people are born with high potential to be stronger in this verse. Also, Giro mentioning that Garou has a lot of potential to be stronger. But even after all those near-death experiences, in his strongest monster form, he still couldn't face Saitama without God's power. So I wouldn't say Garou is slowly breaking his limiter. There's also the glasses guy who's basically pre-training Saitama. So I'll just make a whole other video on the limiter theory. Subscribe for that. Dr. Genus explains how Saitama surpasses heroes, monsters, and natural enemies, not because he had a lot of potential, but through his efforts alone, pride opened the doors of his limits and broke his limiter. All that explanation happening as Garou fights Reaper and Insect God. Now I've gone into the details of this fight in my previous video, link in the description, but in summary, it's a mostly well animated fight with only one difference from the manga and the season 3 trailer. At some point in this fight, Garou was supposed to do this. He did it in the manga and in the season 3 trailer, but for some reason they cut that part out. A slime monster Garou had beaten before appeared and caught Tario, distracting Garou, allowing Reaper to jump him and take him out. Reaper almost goes too far, but then Bug God stops him. They then head back to the monster HQ with Tario. Back at Saitama's place, Saitama returns telling everyone how he forgot his wallet. He thinks he didn't meet Garou because Saitama doesn't really know who Garou is yet. Fubuki comes by and returns some cabbages Saitama forgot at the restaurant. Saitama doesn't even react to Fubuki being furious at him for dumping her at the restaurant. What a real Chad. Dr. Kusano also drops by and brings some meat with him. Reaper and Bug God with Tario report to Giro as the monsters prepare for the S-Class heroes' arrival at the monsters HQ. We see a lot of strong monsters that will eventually lose to some S-Class heroes and the Mai Mask. Then we get the sparring match between Hellfire Flame and Gal Wind, and again, I covered this in my last video, you should check it out, but there isn't any difference between this and the manga. The animation is pretty decent here, but both of these guys are still gonna be one-shot by Flashy Flash, so I don't really mind this animation not being well animated even though it is. Next we get this piece of interaction between G5, a random monster, and Reaper, removed in the anime from the manga. It's quite insignificant and easily ignorable though. Tario is taken to his cell where he meets Waganma, the kid the heroes are coming to try and save. Waganma is a bit cocky about the S-Class heroes coming to save him, but the slime monster assures him that they have monsters that could face even the S-Class heroes. Man, overgrown Rover looks so chopped here. Is this how it looks in the manga? Oh. Okay, so my overall review of the episode is that the animation is inconsistent, but the fight scenes are quite decent. You can tell JC Staff is prioritizing animating the fighting scenes over others. No PNG sliding in this episode, at least not that I've seen. I will be making a video further explaining the limiter theory, so subscribe for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.